Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Alrighty, I just did Why Was Hungry Punished So Severely? I have another one lined up. What happened when kamikaze pilots failed or wimped out? Interesting. Original video, the top description below. If you're not subscribed, you want to help me learn about history and just learn yourself with us about world history through YouTube recommendations. That's what we do here. Love to have you. Pull up a chair. Will be nice. Let's get right into it. What happens when kamikaze pilots failed? They didn't die?
You had one job. Most people have heard of kamikaze pilots, young men who were tasked with crashing their planes into enemy warships. These pilots could, ideally, accurately target important parts of ships and do more damage than a traditional bombing run. Also, it was believed that the display of a kamikaze pilot willingly sacrificing themselves for Japan would...
Right, that's terrifying. I mean, when you see an enemy, there's no bluffing a kamikaze attack. Like, there's no... You're leaving no... kind of question to whether these people are committed to dying for their country. Obviously they are. And also, I'm assuming they weren't just regular planes. Like they must have packed it with more explosives, and you knew you didn't have a return journey. So less fuel. I guess the more fuel you had, though, the bigger the explosion. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they also had like these self-manned torpedoes. That like kamikaze torpedoes, which is crazy.
Would demoralize the enemy. Now, the effects of kamikaze attacks are well debated, but something not spoken about is what happened when they failed. What was to become of a kamikaze pilot that either missed or wimped out? So, some background.
Yeah,
As of 1944,
crazy.
things weren't exactly going great for Japan, and the only hope of preventing America from defeating them was to destroy or at least cripple their capital ships, most importantly, their aircraft carriers. Simply attacking the ships with conventional means was too costly for Japan. As such, taking young pilots, sticking them into planes loaded with explosives, and then ordering them to fly into critical parts of enemy ships was deemed to be a better strategy. The men chosen for this weren't just some random chaps, but were some of the most gifted pilots in Japan. The training was harsh, but the rations were much better, and culturally, kamikaze pilots were revered. Pilots were expected to reflect on death in their time off to prepare them for their upcoming mission. Yet for some, this preparation and love for Japan wasn't enough to get them to introduce their face to the deck of an American warship. So what happened to failed kamikaze pilots? Well, many were shot down before they even completed their mission or could get there. Some hit the wrong part of the ship or missed completely and fell into the ocean where, providing they survived, they'd be captured and taken to a prisoner of war camp. And before continuing...
I saw one in World War II in color, that TV show, that TV series on like History Channel or something, where a kamikaze pilot survived, or like a Japanese pilot survived and was about to be captured, pulled up onto an American ship, and he just pulled the pin on a grenade and just blew himself up.
There's a common misconception that kamikaze pilots were only given half a tank of fuel to ensure they couldn't come back, which isn't true. Also, there were legitimate reasons for a pilot to turn around, and losing a well-trained kamikaze to a malfunction would be a waste. And the entire reason why Japan turned to this strategy in the first place was because their resources, including pilots, were limited.
I wonder if they really studied like where the best part to hit a ship was. They must have, because I mean, when you think about it, trading possibly one person's death for, you know, an entire warship along with all the planes on it, if it's a aircraft carrier and all the people on it, is a very good trade.
So pilots that turned around because of technical issues or bad
if you can get a sink
weather would face no consequences because it wasn't their fault. Better luck next time, and there was going to be a next time. Those that returned due to less easy to confirm reasons like enemy resistance or the inability to find their target would be chastised. And the number of these
resistance. They were shooting at me. You expect me to fly into the ship when they were shooting at me? Come on. Like, that's the point.
Cases was alleviated by undertaking kamikaze attacks in groups and also getting the pilots drunk so they wouldn't think too much about the whole dying thing. However, when only once...
Get them on Pervitin. I think it's by Quixer or something. Had a great, like a Nazi soldier on meth or something, but it was called Pervitin. Just give it to these guys. Give them methamphetamine, and they'll go right into that ship, and they'll probably be really good at aiming.
Survivor returned, it looked quite suspicious, but remember, kamikaze pilots were However, when only one
I
survivor
smell
returned, it looked
guilt
quite
on you.
suspicious. But remember, kamikaze pilots were valuable resources, and so Japan wanted to utilize every single one of them. Thus, no punishment, back out you go. Now, there was a limit to how
Right?
often
Like, what
someone
are you
could
gonna do?
return.
Like,
for example, there was
you
one
gonna kill
pilot
me?
who returned 9 times before he was executed for cowardice. For most pilots, though, returning from a suicide
I would love to see the 8th time or like the 7th time and what they thought. Like, all right, just get back out there. If you come back, you're done. You'll never believe what happened.
mission was to an extent expected, and in many cases not something that would get you imprisoned or shot. Like all resources during the Second World War, Japan had to conserve and make the best use of its kamikaze pilots if it were to compete with the industrial might of the United States. And given that a single kamikaze pilot could put an aircraft carrier out of commission for months, they were seen as something not to be wasted. Hence why returning kamikaze pilots weren't often punished. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for making. I also remember seeing something on a TV or YouTube video about kamikaze pilots where, like, there was this like song about it, and that they were told like right before you're about to, all the steps you take, take aim, and the last thing you see before you hit the ship will be like your mother's face or something. But yeah,
Thanks to my
great
Patreon
video
support.
like always. Go check out History Matters. They do the hard part making the videos. I just react to them and have a fun time doing it. So love you guys to join. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. See you next time.